Thank you. Well, I can see that you're my kind of crowd, and so I'd like to invite you all to join my support group, adult survivors of heterosexual parents. Right? Now, I think it's very important to talk about these things in current, trendy terms and to be up to date about everything. You know, I used to tell people things. Now I self-disclose. And so I would like to share with you that I was raised in a middle-class Jewish home in Brooklyn, New York. My father was a criminal lawyer. There are some people who will tell you that that's redundant. But he only defended poor people, and so he was never paid with money. Instead, they would give him bric-a-bracs, tchotchkes, knickknacks, paint-by-numbers things. We were the only Jews in Brooklyn who had a plastic flamingo. We didn't have a lawn, but we had a plastic flamingo. And although my father was funny and musical, personable, very popular, he did have certain peculiarities that we sort of went along with, not realizing, of course, at the time that we were codependents in a dysfunctional family. Well, actually, I have been having kind of a difficult day. My inner child threw up on my higher power. But let's see. My father fancied himself the disciplinarian of the family, you know. And so when I was a little girl and I did something naughty, he would say to me, "Linny, you stop that or you're going to live to regret it." That was very empowering, thank you. And so I'd do something a little bit worse, and I'd get him really upset, and he'd say, "No, no, no, not like last time. You're really going to be sorry, Linny." And so I'd do something totally outrageous, throw him over the line. He'd get red in the face, bluster, turn to my mother and yell, "That's it. Beatrice, hit her." But my mother didn't hit. My mother pinched. You know the pinch? Jewish nuclear weapons. My mother knew the exact circumference of your thigh. Under any dining room table, she could come and get you. But although I tease her a lot on stage, I think the truth is that my mother is the source of any social activism that I've come to as an adult. My first lesson in political consciousness was when she came home one day and she said to us, "Children, from now on, we're going to take all of the clothing that you outgrow, and we're going to give it to the poor refugee children who live in the little room behind Fleischer's kosher butcher shop." I was upset because I never outgrew anything. I have been this size since I was 2. I was like Terminator toddler, you know. So I would take my perfectly good clothing and I'd make a little stain here, a little rip there, a little tear here, and I'd hold it up and I'd say, "See, Mommy, clothing for the poor refugee children." And we would go every Shabbos, every Sabbath, and we would give it to them. My second lesson in political consciousness came when the refugees bought a big house in Long Island. And I was left in an apartment with a plastic flamingo and no clothes. But actually, those were happy times. You know, I think we were all poor, but we didn't know it. Even Fleischer's butcher shop failed when he tried unsuccessfully to attract a Gentile clientele by putting his chickens in a tank at the front of the store. Tied their little feet with rubber bands, but no one was fooled. And yet, when I look back now, it's with a lot of sentiment, a lot of nostalgia, and I can even close my eyes and hear my mother's voice saying, "Always remember, it's just as easy to fall in love with a rich girl as with a poor one." Of course, she was talking to my brother at the time, but I was listening to, and I can tell you that my life has not been a bed of roses, but that's why perhaps we become involved with the lesbian sex therapists.